Hello, let's do the Minute Cryptic for February 10th. Today's clue is by Corey Calhoun. For example, an elephant over 50 reproduced 3 times. Okay. 50 screams, what, L? L is the Roman numeral for 50. Over is only an indicator in a full cryptic because they're literally laid out. So it could be referencing a clue it's over, but not in a Minute Cryptic. Reproduced 3 times makes me think literally do LLL. I don't see how that's a word, but over 50 reproduced 3 times. I don't know. Maybe it's not that. My initial thought when reading this was, for example, an elephant could be our definition. So like something like mammal, right? What would like mammalian fit, or I don't know. Is it double M? Nah. Okay, anyway. But it doesn't have to be. For example could be our definition, or times could be our definition. 3 times. 50 being L feels right. So what else are we doing with 50? An elephant over 50. What are we doing with elephant? Maybe that's fodder. We need to use the letters somehow. For example, an elephant over 50. Something I'm wondering is whether we need, well, this is a little bit of a problem, but do we need a 3-letter grouping that's actually repeated 3 times? Like the problem is that then we need another letter to go with it. But that's kind of my thought is reproduce 3 times, literally saying do it 3 times. Now 10 is not divisible by 3. So we do like etc., 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 right? Just as an example. And then we'd have starting letter and ending letter would go with that. But because, for example, might be something like that. I'm confused though. Like, what are our indicators here? Reproduced. Reproduced 3. 3 is I. That doesn't seem to help. Times could be an X. I don't know. That doesn't really work. An elephant over 50 reproduced 3 times. I think I have to take a hint today. This has a huge par, by the way. So over is the indicator, which I didn't think could be. It's a containing indicator. Some fodder or its substitute will go over some other fodder or its substitute. What does that mean by over? How is that containing? So an elephant is the exact correct number of letters. I think we need to insert an L. What does it say? It says this clue's indicator is over. It's the only indicator, and it's a containing indicator. Some fodder will go over some other fodder. But how does over mean containing? Over is almost explicitly not containing, but ignoring that, just treating it as a contain indicator. Does that mean the left side contains our L? An elephant. What are we doing with reproduce 3 times then? Is that the definition? I'm going to grab the definition hint. Yeah, I guess it had to be. Reproduce 3 times is our definition. And our answer will be a word that describes the same effect. When you've reproduced something 3 times, you've blank it. Cloned. When you've reproduced something 3 times, you've something it. Confirmed it? I don't know. Triplicate? No. I couldn't justify that anyway. For example, an elephant. So what are we doing with all of that fodder? For example, okay, so for example can be replaced with e.g. and then an elephant. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to also grab the fodder hint so I know like how it's getting split up. Goose fodder is, for example, an elephant and 50. For the first, we'll need to find a category. Okay. That's kind of what I was saying. If it was the definition, it could be something like mammalian. For the second, we'll need to find a substitute for 50. Yeah. So we're inserting an L into for a category that contains elephant. Mammal is too short. Mammalian, maybe. But how would we insert an L into this? It's not even anagrammed. Reproduced 3 times. It has to be past tense too. Maybe not. If you've reproduced it 3 times, you've blanked it. Is it an ED? For example, an elephant. I don't know what to do with this one. We have to find a category for elephant that's 9 letters long and put an L in the middle, and suddenly it means reproduced 3 times. Specifically 3 times. Like, I liked the word triplicate, or just having triple in there somehow. What does that have to do with an elephant? For example, an elephant. Just a big, maybe animal. But, like, what's long enough for that? For example, an elephant. Well, the only hints I've got left are letters, so let's see if that helps. Starts with a Q? I suppose that's a U. That's what Q looks like, right? Yeah, it's not a G, it's a Q. And then another vowel. So what's a category for elephant that starts with a Q? And then reproduced 3 times. So are we actually like, does that mean we have 4 of them? Since you reproduced it 4 times, you have 4 of them. So could it be like quadricept? Quadricep? And how are we adding an L to this? Isn't a quadricep a 4-legged creature? I don't know how to spell that. Quadriplicate. Quadrupled. Quadruped. Okay. Quadrupled. Okay, yeah. So if you quadruple something, maybe you had 1 of them, now you have 4 of them. If you reproduce something, if you clone it 3 times, then you end up with 4 of them because you still have the original. And so you quadrupled it, you multiplied it by 4. And that's going to happen no matter how many you started with. If you take the originals and you reproduce them. Okay, so you quadrupled them. And a quadruped is like an animal with 4 legs. Or, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's tough. How'd you do?